City of Miami Commission meeting for September 26, 2024. I am going to defer to our city attorney. I believe he has a statement.
Actually, it's brief, Madam Chair. Thank you. The shade meeting involving Madroom LLC and the Tower Hotel and the Tower Hotel case has concluded. So we have concluded the shade meeting.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. At this time, we have, I believe, one item remaining on our agenda, which is RE10?
RE11.
RE11.
What is RE11? Because I came, sorry.
It's the
Settlement.
Oh, the settlement, yes, sir.
RE11 is the settlement, Madroom LLC and QBE Specialty Insurance Company. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I did want to add just
Please.
one very quick thing, and that's that, we've received a lot of feedback from residents, but mainly around the issue of accountability, meaning that, times are tough. None of us are supporting any tax increases. We know what's happening with condo fees, insurance, et cetera. And when they see a settlement, not maybe understanding the entire settlement, they see money, taxpayers' money, being used and applied for that. But what they don't see are the consequences involved from all of that. So I'd like to make sure that when we do our charter review, we put some consequences into that document. I don't know if it's censure, or I don't know if it's removal from office. I don't know what the answer is, but I think it should be a staged kind of disciplinary action based on cost or any of it. I would just like to see it in charter review.
Okay, I would caution us to take measures like that, particularly when we're basing it on a particular situation, because again, we live in a very litigious society, and we are all subject to litigation.
Yeah.
And because there's litigation doesn't mean that this lawsuit has merit, doesn't mean that it doesn't have merit. And I just want to balance that, the concerns of the community as well as our concerns as well, as appropriately as we can do that, as fairly as we can do that, considering the needs of our community and, our residents, our taxpayers, all of that. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion for this item?
Madam Chair, I missed what my colleague was saying.
Okay, I can have him say that again. And
What I said was that residents have expressed concern about accountability when the city is taking funds from general fund and paying for any kind of costs associated with litigation. And that in charter review, hopefully we can address some kind of action with consequences for cases that we decide as a body need further action.
What does that mean?
A censure, removal from office, any kind of disciplinary action where it's merited.
But in this case, the accusations are going from our city manager on down. Directors, police officers, firefighters, all kinds of our employees.
Understood. And what I'm getting at is for any case where elected officials are involved, if there are consequences, those consequences should be spelled out in our charter, and we should look at that through charter review.
Okay, well, that's a statement that you've made. Some of your friends lost one big one in state court a few days ago, so I could understand why you're bringing this up today.
They're not friends. People I know.
Not for today, but we'll get into that soon at another time, so I can remind you how close your friends they are.
Okay, can I?
Commissioner Gabella.
Yes, what I wanted to say was that we want to put this chapter behind us. The reason I'm voting for this is because the benefits that we're gaining now, I think, outweigh the consequences in in the near future, or in the next 1 or 2 years, of more litigation, more money being spent, and the outcome, there's no guarantee that the outcome is going to be any different. So I just want to be on the record that for my part, I'm doing it as I see my fiduciary duty to save the, wherever I can, taxpayer money, and I just wanted to put that.
I'll also be supporting it.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, and I think what Commissioner Gabela said, and we all agree that this is the prudent, or some of us agree that this is the prudent thing to do at this moment. So, call the roll.
Chair, I'll be brief.
I have the city attorney clocking us each at 5 minutes.
I won't even need that. Look,
Perfect.
I respect the conclusion and opinions that my colleagues have come to. We basically have been advised by counsel that even if they would prevail in anything minute, in the smallest little thing, they would be entitled to all their attorney's fees and costs. So I understand why all of you feel this way. I, however, feel that this would be going to a Miami-Dade jury, not a Broward jury. And much more that I'd rather not get into it here. But the bottom line is that I, out of principle, knowing that none of our employees in the city did anything wrong. And on the contrary, the history of these individuals was a history of violations, not respecting our residents. And as we have numerous emails that were found back before I got here, employees that were protecting them, including one key employee from the office of the former mayor, Mr. Regalado. When you have emails that are coming from one of the plaintiffs to a city employee in planning, telling him, look into this, and it's a copy of a code violation that was posted in one of his properties. This was years before I was a commissioner again. And you cannot find that violation in any city file anywhere, which means somebody disappeared it. And the only way you know it existed because he included the violation in that email. If that's not protection, I don't know what is. When you have another former city employee in code, years before I got here as commissioner again, that took over a case, how he did it, we don't know, from the original inspector that had cited them. And just before they go to code enforcement, he affirms that they had corrected everything. And the manager already had confirmed that was totally untrue. Everything was still the same years later. When you have the right hand for a former mayor is sending an email, and he keeps sending emails because couldn't get a hold of the guy, to warn him that code had received information that they had key violations, that they were working without permits at night in one particular location. And here's the private cell number of the Director of Code Enforcement, so you could call him and take care of it. You could come to your own conclusion of what was going on, but these were a few of the emails that were there. Anybody that would like to see them will be happy to provide them. So, having said that, and I promise I won't take the whole 5 minutes, for that reason I will be voting no on this item with all the respect that I think that my colleagues should deserve for the reasons that they will vote for.
And
Thank you.
I want to add, by this settlement, there is no admission of guilt. Okay? Doesn't mean there is an admission.
There's no
of guilt.
admission of liability. Correct,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
All right, I have a motion. For the record, may I have the name of the motion, the first motion?
Who did it? Did I do it?
I don't remember who.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I'll do it.
so I have Commissioner Gabella as the mover and Commissioner Pardo as the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No,
Motion carries 4-1.
One. Okay.
And that shall conclude the City of Miami Commission meeting for September 26, 2024. Thank you all for attending. Thank you for your advocacy as always. At this time, we are going to begin, is it 5:05?
520.
5:20, okay. At this time, we are going to begin our City of Miami Commission budget hearing, our second budget hearing, September 26, 2024. As with every meeting, we are going to open the meeting with prayer.
I think we need to deal with some of the CRAs before passing the budget, or do we?
Oh, that's true. I forgot. We have the Omni CRA meeting. Do we want to go to the Omni CRA meeting?
There is no amnesia.
No,
It's
this
not-
got approved.
Omni was
last
resolved.
month.
You just have Midtown.
I'm
Midtown.
sorry. I mean the Midtown CRA.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Chair, we did open up the second budget hearing. So if we want to recess.
At this time, I apologize, everyone. I forgot about the Midtown CRA meeting. We are going to recess the City of Miami Commission budget hearing until we complete the Midtown CRA meeting. Give you time to flip the tape.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm the vice chairman.
Sorry, Commissioner Coro, just one moment, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I am calling to order the September 26, 2024 Midtown CRA meeting. I am the vice chair. of the Midtown CRA. I wasn't aware, and I guess it's my fault for being involved in so many things at one time, that I have become the chairman by default, because somehow we did not name a chairman for the Midtown CRA. Either last December, I think it was, or this January, whichever the time was. However, we did have an executive director. I never heard from him all during that time. Never came to me for anything, not even to say hi. And then last meeting that we had, when I arrived, I had the CPA, the gentleman that is the CPA for a firm that does the accounting for the Midtown CRA. He also does the accounting for the Omni and Southeast Overtown CRA, was waiting for me in my office to give me the budget that I was supposed to bring to my colleagues sitting as members of the Midtown CRA to approve. I'm not good at rubber stamping. And I looked at the budget, and the first thing I saw was that I'm just giving big numbers without any explanation. So this is why I asked my colleagues to defer this item till today, so I could find out what was going on. And there's still some things that I haven't gotten to, but I've seen enough to have concerns. Karen, could you begin with the first one? This is a text that was sent to the, slow there, to the, if you could move it down just a little bit. Okay, that's fine. This text was sent to the executive director of the Midtown CRA, Anthony Balsabry, as you see there, on Thursday, September 19th, 2024, last week. That was sent from my chief of staff, Will Ortiz, on my behalf. And he says, "Hi, Anthony. I hope you're doing well. Commissioner Carollo would like to meet with you tomorrow in our district office, 1300 Southwest 12th Avenue, at 1:30 p.m. in order to prepare for the Midtown CRA budget meeting. Please bring all relevant documentation to the meeting. Thank you." And if you all could see, that was sent at 10:38 a.m. on that date, 10:38 a.m. If you could go to the next one. This email at 10:44 a.m., 6 minutes later, only 6 minutes later, was sent by the executive director of the Midtown CRA, Anthony Balsabry, to the city clerk, Todd Hannon, copying two other government employees. I was not copy there. And he says, "Good morning, Mr. Clerk. I'd like to make you aware, for your records, that this email shall serve as my resignation from the executive director position of the Midtown CRA effective September 19, 2024. That same day. Thank you, Anthony Balsabri. 6 minutes after I requested a meeting with him to go over the budget and what had transpired through that year. Maybe it just happened by chance, but to some people it might look a little funny. And I'm one of those that I'm starting to add 2 plus 2, and I'm not getting 4. If you go to the next one, please.
Chair, whenever you have a minute and you're done.
No, when I'm done, sir.
Okay.
You could speak all you want, and I'm not going to be like anyone else or like you with me to try to hold me to what I can say. I'm the chairman here, and I will give you all the time in the world, the same time I'm going to allow to myself. The amount that was being paid to the executive director of the Midtown CRA was a salary of $40,000, FICA of $3,059 on that $40,000, $2,000 for employer's contribution to his pension, $2,400 for a cell phone allowance, $6,000 for a car allowance, $1,153 for guardian health insurance for himself and his whole family, another $5,623 for an APL health insurance for himself and his whole family, another $25,867 for United Healthcare health insurance for himself and his whole family, for a total, stop there, of $86,102. We could go to the next one. His salary and benefits, as we have gone over, amounted to, based upon what I've been given, $86,102 as executive director for the Midtown CRA. But he also had a job, you would think a full-time job, as chief of staff for Commissioner Pardo, which I am told his salary is $150,000 there. I don't know what benefits, if any, goes along with his salary. I haven't been provided that yet. The total amount for both positions came to a total of $236,102. This is what we pay some of our assistant city managers. This is more than twice as much that we earn with benefits as commissioner. I think we're about 101 and change. The problem here is several. And frankly, I have to admit, I don't have all the answers, and I shouldn't. And I don't have the time to deal with something like this, so others are going to have to deal with it. The problem is that is several-folded. And let's keep going in the presentation that I have before I get into what I see the problems there. On this Exhibit A here, please go up. This is part of the budget that was made for the Southeast Overtown CRA. If you could look at the areas that are in yellow, the CPA that did this, which is the same CPA that did our Midtown, included here clearly a line item for life and health insurance and another line item for retirement contribution. If you go to the next one. This other one is the Omni Tax Increment Fund budget for the Omni CRA. If you see in the yellow lines, the CPA did a line item for life and health insurance for the employees, and another one for retirement contributions for the employees. That's the pension. You see them in yellow. If you go to the next one. But this is how it was done for the Midtown CRA. Right off the bat, you could see that it was different than it was done in the others. Because all the money's being given and paid for Mr. Basserbreath's health, vision, dental insurance for him and his family, and the pension being given to him, was listed available for other administrative expenditures. That's not health insurance, vision, dental, or pensions. In fact, I thought originally that maybe they were going to be hiring somebody else. Administrative expenditures. This is what was being asked of us to approve for this next fiscal year. But in fact, we got suckered into it the last fiscal year, the one before Mr. Russell left, that had the same wording, and one could very well feel that we did not approve a budget for health insurance, dental, vision insurance for Mr. Basserbreath and his whole family, or a pension for him, because it did not say it here like you saw the other CRAs that where it was spelled at. And you see here that the pension contribution, the dental, eye, health insurance contributions total almost $35,000. That I don't believe the board of the Midtown CRA had approved before, nor if we would have approved this last meeting, like I was asked to present, we would have been approving that because it didn't spell it out. It talked about other administrative whatever. Now, let's go to the next one. This happened, this article here was, I think, came out yesterday. Mr. Part is becoming a regular writer. You know, maybe this is a new gig, I don't know. In our local Miami Herald. I've already been scolded by them that not to call them tabloid. They get mad. And they could come after you if they get mad. And in this article yesterday, he said, I have been a champion for more transparency from our government. I have been a champion for more transparency from our government. It's what he said yesterday in the article, besides many other things that we might deal with at the next meeting. And I know that for quite some time now, he's been talking that he came here to fight corruption and so on, so I got to wonder. I have been a champion for more transparency from our government. Champ, how could you miss this? How could the champ miss this when the corruption was right under his feet? Because when I've asked, what does the Midtown CRA do to the administration? Oh, that's just a pass-through, just a pass-through. And what I've been shown is that Mr. Basserbree's involvement was in signing 5, maybe, if they didn't want to lump them together to the city, 6 checks the whole year. Now, I haven't seen any audited numbers. I haven't seen copies of our bank statements. But I'm going in what I've been given and what I've been told. How can anybody think that it is all right when all you're doing is being an executive director in a CRA that's a pass-through only, that there's no real work like in the others, that it's okay to be getting in salary and benefits? Can we go back to that? Karen, thank you. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Okay. How can anyone think that it's okay to receive $86,102? You know, when Mr. Diaz de la Portilla chaired the Omni CRA, and I found out, among other things, that there was a young lady there that was working, or should I say was employed by the CRA, the Omni, but was not showing up to work. And rightly so. People said that was a ghost employee. If I'm supposed to be the chair, I'm the vice chair, and I never have heard from the executive director, the Midtown CRA that I know doesn't have his own offices. I don't know if it even has a phone number. I guess you need office to have a phone number. Maybe it was the cell phone that we paid for Mr. Basserbee. I have to wonder, is this another Jenny? Another ghost employee that we had? Now, I don't know if Mr. Basserbee violated any ethical provisions or anything other on dual office holding. I don't know if there are any other provisions, but I do know this whole thing stinks. And when I found out about it, I asked to have a meeting with him. Within 6 minutes after I asked for that meeting, he's resigning. So what I am going to be doing today, out of the budget that was proposed, since everything I'm told is a pass-through, and so it seems like it is, the $134,363 that was being sent to the Omni CRA to pay, because the Midtown didn't even pay itself, even though it paid a CPA, $26,000 a year or so, a little more. I'm going to be amending this budget so that amount would be placed in reserve. So the budget that I'm going to propose will be the pass-throughs as we have here, with the exception that this $134,363 would be placed in reserve. I am further going to be requesting of the city clerk to send a copy of this meeting with everything that we presented, and we have more that we could provide, to both the Miami-Dade and the Broward State Attorney. I don't know who is going to want to look at this. You could even send it to Palm Beach in case it gets that far. I don't know. Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the Ethics Commission. Because the one thing I do know is that if this would have been Joe Carollo doing this, or one of my employees, the local Miami Herald, among others, would have been the one screaming the loudest, "Hang him! Hang him! Get the rope out!" And they would have been asking for every investigation in the world against me, including sending the Boy Scouts to investigate me. Now, I will be extremely interested to hear if anybody can try to explain to me if the 2 plus 2 is actually 4 and not another number that I looked at this. Maybe others didn't know about this, like I just recently found out, and I still don't have all the information. But for a city employee to be having 2 jobs like this, and particularly one job when there's nothing to do, to be paid over $86,000 a year in salary and benefits, and for nobody to have said anything about it, that's wrong. That's wrong, because if they're making $150 from another city job, how can they make $86,000 plus from another one? I mean, Mr. City Attorney?
Yes, sir.
Can my chief of staff, I'm sure he'd be glad to do this work for $10,000 less than Mr. Basterby was making. Can he do it, or would he have a problem in doing it?
If he were to be your chief of staff as well as be the executive director of the CRA, I believe we have researched that and determined that he could. Okay. He would just have to fill out the outside employment forms and the extra source of income forms every year.
So the outside employment forms
Correct.
that as of last night were not filled. Is that correct, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir.
When I inquired. So after all this time, after the fact, after somebody resigns, run to the hills and see how you could get some cover, even if they're right in what they're saying. Because some of the rumors that I've heard is that this was asked in the past, and not that long ago, to have gotten a legal opinion to give him cover, and it was not provided. So I will begin with Mr. Pardo, and then anybody else that from this body that would like to address this can address it.
Thank you very much, Commissioner
You
Carollo.
have all the time that you would like, Mr. Pardo.
Can I go now?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Don't
Appreciate
put the
it.
clock all the time he wants.
Thank you. I appreciate that. First thing I want to say is I think it's apparent to most people that this is never the way something like this should be handled. You kind of proved my whole point of political theater and taking something which may all be very easily explained, very well explained, and creating a fiction around it to hurt someone, an employee of the city of Miami, who happens to be my chief of staff and does an amazing job, and I value highly, and is one of the people who has helped every CRA and helped every person in the city, and I bet you can talk to most people through the offices, and they're going to tell you the exact same thing. A resolution, and I'm sorry you didn't know you were the chairman of the CRA, but that's your job. You're the chair. You're the chairman of the CRA. September 2021.
I'm aware of that. That's why I
You said I could speak, right? So let me speak.
Absolutely.
So let me speak.
And I'm going to let
So
you
let me
speak.
speak,
But
please.
what I don't want you to do is
Let
try
me-
to confuse.
Let me.
That resolution, I'm aware of that. The city's
So let me
aware
read
of
the
that.
resolution, please.
But what I talked about was different, not the resolution.
I am going to read the resolution. A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Midtown Community Development Agency with attachments appointing Anthony Balzabri as the Executive Director of the CRA, authorizing the Midtown CRA's chairman to negotiate and execute any and all necessary agreements setting the Executive Director's compensation and benefits, all in form acceptable to the Council and Midtown CRA for said purposes. The letter, which was March 2022, Dear Mr. Balzabri, this will confirm the action of the Board of Commissioners of the Midtown Redevelopment Agency. By the way, you were the motioner on this.
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Effective Monday, September 13, 2021, you will be employed as Executive Director of the CRA with a salary of $6,000. Benefits will include $500 vehicle allowance, $200 cell phone. I mean, you are defaming someone without them having an opportunity to stand up for themselves and give information. This should not be handled like this.
Bring him over. You have him there. He can speak.
This should not be handled like this, Commissioner. This is not the way that we should act as a city with each other or with the public. This is disingenuous and it's false. And we shouldn't be doing this at all.
Anything more?
And by the way, we can go into Bayfront Park Trust. There's a million things that Miguel Ferro and where he was employed. There's a million things. We shouldn't be doing this. We should simply get the information as appropriate, and if there are measures need to be taken. But everything here was approved above board.
Sir, at no time did I say here that the salary and the additional information that you read in that resolution was incorrect. I directed the attention to approximately $35,000 of health insurance and pension that was not approved based on what was given to this body in the past or what was being asked for us to approve now. And it certainly seemed it was being hidden by the example that I gave with the other two CRAs, including yours, where it was very open. Now, let me explain to you the big difference on September 21st, or whatever the date in September it was, 2021. Mr. Bassery was now working as the chief of staff. Mr. Bassery was only given that job. That is a major, major difference. He did not have dual jobs in the city of Miami. He was not making $236,000 plus in supposedly 2 jobs. Now, granted, I'll clearly say it. Even then, we should have looked at that even closer. And this is why I've stated many times, I haven't wanted part of any of the CRAs, and I've wanted to see how I could get myself in not being a board member. But I'm told because of the way that they've been made, I have no choice but to be a board member. But for you to try to confuse by saying that this is all approved, no, sir. Part was approved, part was not, but the big difference was that he was only working then for the Midtown CRA.
All I have to go on are your statements made at this moment on the dais. There is no time to investigate this other than the texts that I've received, which he tells me he has his outside employment forms filed, that I know of. He's an above board person that complies with everything. So he's not here. I think this is like bordering on defamation. This is an employee of the city.
Listen, he is not here because he doesn't want to be here. Let's go back to that September 2021. He wasn't there either. When this is supposed to be brought up to this commission, that I found out that I'm the guy that's supposed to be running the meeting, and I'm being given stuff to rubber stamp it, and to ask all of you to rubber stamp it. He wasn't here that day either at our last meeting because he didn't want to be around. He should be in your office. Call him out. I'll give him all the time that he wants.
I wouldn't do that to an employee in my office. And I wouldn't do that to any employee. What you're doing right now, I wouldn't do to anyone.
He's an employee in your office, but he's also a political operative. That's why you have him in your office. First and foremost, as a political operative. Secondly of all, as an employee. And the problem that you have is, and no matter how you like to paint it, you can't justify what I just showed here. And furthermore, where's the copy? Where's the date of when he filed all these public notices that you're telling me?
I'll go find them.
Okay. Very good. He was supposed to have filed, according to what the...
you said you were chairing the meeting before, but you didn't know you were chairman now. So, I just don't know where this information you've gathered, and I have nothing to...
I've gathered this between the last meeting and this meeting. Just
Right.
why I said last meeting.
Listen, I've always been in favor of transparency. I'm in favor of full transparency, and I will commit to investigating all of this on our behalf and share it.
Mr. Mr. Pardo, you could investigate everything that you like, but if you didn't investigate it before, champ.
I'm not the chairman of the Midtown
then-
CRA, sir.
No,
You
no,
are.
No, you
You
are
are.
the one that have hired him for
As my chief of staff, I'm very well aware of what he does.
$150,000. Were you aware that he had this other job for that amount
Yeah,
of dollars?
I knew he
Okay.
had a
And
job under
how were
you.
you working out the hours for him?
I don't have a specific hours set for him as chief of
Oh,
staff
okay.
or for your job as the Midtown CRA.
I see. But I do not get any money. I didn't even know this individual was doing this work. I have enough with what I do already than to be babysitting somebody.
Well, he has enough with what he does too.
Well,
And so do we all.
Then you know what? Get for us all the hours that he claimed that he put down in this CRA. But in the meantime, it's not for you, for I. Like I said, I don't have the time for this. Let somebody else, whether it's ethics or anybody else that won, figure out what he had to file and when he had to file it. Not that he ran out to file it today, because you heard the clerk say that as of last night, he had not filed anything pertaining to what the city attorney said.
Commissioner, I'm happy to work with you on this issue, and I suggest that we move on. We have pressing issues with our budget, and I think it would be better served for the city if we did that.
I've covered the areas that I needed to cover, but Mr. Basilbreed nor you are victims in this at all, whatsoever.
No one's saying that.
Can I
Yes.
weigh in? How much is in reserve there now?
That's good.
Sir?
Where are the people for the Midtown CRA here?
Aren't you the chair?
Hold on. You're going to be surprised with what he tells you, because there's not much. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Miguel Valentin, Southeast Overtown Park West financial officer, and I work in the capacity of expert consultant for the Midtown CRA.
You're not an employee. You're outside
The city, yes,
the city. Just want to make that clear.
yes. Well, just to answer your question, in the grand scheme of things, this Midtown CRA is a single-purpose CRA. This CRA is obligated to contribute towards the debt service for the Midtown CDD, and also we put aside 1% for administration. The remaining balance, that needs to be distributed between the taxing authorities, meaning 60% goes to the city and 40% goes to the county. And we started distributing the remaining funds, I think, since last year, as a result of an audit that we...
Yeah, but Valentin, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The board member, Commissioner Gabello, his question is,
How much in reserve?
how much of the reserve do you
How
have?
much money
there?
have you got in liquid in a bank wherever you keep it?
Well, remember, in the Midtown CRA, it's supposed to be zero at the end of the day.
So you don't have any reserves?
Now, right now, we have
You do.
$4 million, $4 million, that they are meant to be distributed to the city pertaining to fiscal year 2024, and those monies needs to be distributed by early October.
And if I can add this to the commissioner, and all of them are informed, based upon what you told me, this will be the first time
Yeah.
that monies that were available from the Midtown CRA are going to the city of Miami.
Correct.
Okay, so you have $4 million in reserve because you...
Almost five. Almost five.
Almost five, okay. So
This is
4 or 5.
without, excuse me, Commissioner Cabela. This is without including the portion corresponding to 2025.
What is
this-
that? How much is that?
This is another $5 million that the
Yeah,
city will be
but
getting.
you haven't collected that yet.
Yes, we're going to be collecting this by January 2025.
January 2025. You know, I look at this thing, and these CRAs are starting to bother me. You know, a lot of funny business going on here. I mean, I'm not passing judgment one way or the other. I'm hearing what you're saying, Commissioner. I'm hearing what you said. You know, but it seems to me that maybe we're just better off dissolving all CRAs, you know, and putting that money into a pool in the general fund, and then distribute that money within the 5 districts, and let's call it a day, because I'm getting tired of this business. Let me tell you. You know, I suggest, sir, that while this is going on and we find out who's what and who's not, we freeze what's going on over there where you are, because apparently there's a lot of funny business going on here from what I'm hearing. You know, and like I said, quite frankly, I'm getting tired of this, of this business going backwards and forwards, and you know, everything. You know, how long have we been hearing about the CRAs? Problems in the CRAs, you know, with my predecessor, with the other one, you know what I mean? And it seems to me that maybe we should just abolish the CRAs when they come to set, and that's it. Let's call it a day, and let's take those funds, put it into general accounting, and then we distribute it within the 5 commissioners. And the other thing is, you guys, it's always that business that, you know, what I don't like. Oh, I need the money because if I don't get the money by next October, you know, something will happen, and there's always something happening. You know, and with all due respect, Commissioner Padu, the same thing with you guys. When I made the argument, hey, I need help over here, you know, in my quarter because I'm absorbing all of your problems as am I absorbing my problems? No, let's not do that because I got to get things done and there are projects that need to be done. And the funny one to me is, you know, and I voted for it. The one, I think it was 1.5 million to Cush, okay? And that's the restaurateur. I got nothing against the restaurateur. He seems to be doing good. My wife knew him. I have no idea because I'm not a foodie in that way. But my wife knew of him. And my question is, so we take this money. We're supposed to be helping Blight, which I made that argument again and again and again. We're supposed to be doing infrastructure. But in this case, we're helping a gentleman that has already been established to open a restaurant for $1.5 million. If that's what
Commissioner Gabella, that's not what was happening in that transaction.
No.
I don't know if you've seen the building, but it is a blighted building, and it's 10
Mr.
affordable housing units.
Mr. Pardo, please, to the chair.
Oh.
Okay? Let him finish, and then you can speak.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So what you're saying is it's a building, and I went to refurbish the building.
It's a really dilapidated, falling apart building that runs that restaurant. The employees need to live there, and they're rehabbing the top, I believe it was 10 units. If you come to the building and look at it, and you follow the resolution that was passed, you will feel very good about the project. It is not something. And I'm a big proponent of CRAs, and I want to say that Omni CRA has adopted all of the state best practices, and you certainly know because you work with Omni CRA. And so we don't have these issues of, you know, I mean, how do you feel about Omni CRA?
Listen, in my capacity...
He's an employee of yours there. Well, let me rephrase that. His company is hired by you. What do you think he's going to say to you?
I don't think he's going to say anything.
Let me, if I may, I'm going to be answering...
Listen, you don't have to answer that. Because
I would like him
what
to
he's gonna
answer
say.
it.
He's going to say what a wonderful thing it is.
No, he's not.
Well,
And particularly when Mr. Diaz de Portilla came in to get rid of everybody there. One that was not gotten rid of because your chief of staff protected him was him.
No.
So
That is so not true.
Okay,
After Diaz
that's not
Portillo
true.
left, there was a complete audit. There were implemented operations.
that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm not talking about money. But I will say this. That your argument, it reminds me back of the argument that Diaz de Portilla gave on good old Jenny when she was found that she wasn't working. The same argument. And what happened with Jenny? Well, not what should have happened, but she at least got $1,000 fine. Boy, $1,000 fine. Okay.
Commissioner, I would like to let him answer the question.
just respectfully to all of you, I've been working for as Southeast Overtown Park West financial officer since 2002. And when it comes to the Omni CRA and the Midtown CRA, I've been doing work for the accounting work since 2016. These transactions that we are talking about, they were audited and they were reviewed by the Auditor General as well.
It's only 5 or 6 transactions,
Well,
right?
but I
Only 5 or 6.
and you're right about
Okay.
that. But remember this, there was a very comprehensive audit conducted by the Auditor General as well as the CRA staff, in which, honest to goodness, the director was heavily involved because we needed to talk to too many parties in order to resolve the issues at hand. And the problem was that the Midtown CDD at that time, they were not forthcoming at all. And that was a daunting task, honest to goodness. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you are saying as well. But when it comes to the CRAs, I've been there for over 20 years, and knock on wood, I don't need to be ashamed of anything that I'm doing there.
Well, let me answer your question. Are you done?
Yeah.
Let me answer your question. That isn't the same tune that you were talking about 4 or 5 months ago when you and Isaiah Jones came to my office voluntarily, by the way.
Yeah.
I never called you. I never knew what was going on in the Omni CRA. Now we're talking about the Omni CRA.
Yeah.
You seem to be now saying that everything is flowers and everything smells beautiful in the CRA. But yet, let me explain, then you can tell me. If I remember correctly, Isaiah Jones and yourself came to our office about 3 different times. And in the first time, you wanted an investigation. You guys asked me to issue an investigation into the film studio business that we have a stupid deal with them, where I don't know who the hell made that deal, but that's the stupidest deal I've seen in my life as a business person. You know, where you I'm going to let you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just got 5 more minutes. Where we subletted, not subletted. We were the landlords. We rented for $3 a square foot, I believe it was, and then those guys were turning around and duplicating the money like 10 or 20 times. And they're still there, you know, and you guys walked into my office and you wanted an investigation on that. And then you also wanted an investigation on the security company, if I remember correctly. I think you were there, Frank. Yeah, and then you came maybe 2 more times. I think you came for a total of 3 times. Then all of a sudden, when Isaiah Jones was appointed director of the Omni CRA, you guys never asked for that went all the way. As a matter of fact, she was right over there, and when that happened, that I voted for her to appoint her, I think she's a good person. You know, I even said, hey, you're not interested anymore in the what happened to the investigations? What happened that you wanted to, and everybody silent, you know what I mean? So don't tell me, you can't tell me one thing. You can't speak both sides of your mouth. You can't tell me that 5 months ago you were having a little problem. And then you told me also of the letter of the gentleman, I'm not going to mention his name, of the gentleman that was signing off stuff and not following procedure. Remember that? You don't remember that?
It doesn't ring a bell right now, but
Okay, all right,
I
fair
rely
enough.
on what
Yeah,
you're
no,
saying.
You don't recall. But there was another gentleman that then quit because of this. Because I believe you guys said that the gentleman, my predecessor that was here before, made him do certain things that he didn't want to do and he was forced into it. That's what was said to me by you guys. Remember that, Frank, that you were in that meeting? And what's amazing to me is that after you guys, she was appointed director, and again, I've got nothing but respect for Isaiah. Okay, I treat her very well and yourself when you come into my office, and we've had long conversations. But what's amazing to me is, that there was a problem back then. Now, all of a sudden, there's no problems, and apparently there is problems. And that's why I say again, I'm tired of these CRA businesses, and you guys have this business. And the other thing is, I figured out, CRAs. The Hispanic don't have one CRA in the city of Miami. I don't understand this. Everybody else does, but the Hispanic, there's not one Hispanic CRA in the city of Miami. Okay, my point is, don't tell me that CRAs are not problematic. Some of them, okay, because I haven't been hearing good things from especially the Omni CRA before your time. By the way, before your time. But now, the fact of the matter is, you guys are now there, okay? And like he needs to take responsibility, so do you guys, because
We
you
did,
guys are there.
though.
What happened to the investigation?
Well,
How come nobody's calling for investigation?
I'm not.
How come everything now is roses and it's what I want to know?
Commissioner Gabala,
Yes,
after
sir.
the audit, all of those operational things were implemented, the new audit standards You know that, Miguel, because you were part of that as well.
When do those audits happen? In 5 years from now, and then we say, oh, this is not going to happen again, and this and that, and then we move on, and then it happens again. Is that what we're talking about here?
No.
And then we spend $200,000 on a forensic audit, which anyway, I've been told by some that the second guy that comes, unless he sees a real red flag, a smoking gun, he's not going to make another decision.
Listen,
if there's something wrong.
I think we need to bring Jenny back to the Omni CRA or maybe Midtown. We made a mistake, you know. We got to treat everybody alike. But I do have a question for you
Yes, sir.
before we move on.
Yes, sir.
Since so much of the Omni CRA was brought out, the monies to pay you from the Midtown CRA to have paid Mr. Basserby was given to the Omni CRA to handle, correct?
That has been done since 2010.
I just want to get that on the record.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Since 2010.
Yes.
Yeah. Just want to get it on the record. Last but not least, but since 2010, no one has made anywhere near close to $86,000 plus.
I don't know that.
Having another job,
I don't know that.
they paid him $150,000 in the same city of Miami, and I don't know what benefits you give him there.
None.
I'm glad, because he's certainly gotten enough already. How much, and how are you paid? Do you have a firm that you're paid through, or do you pay individually?
No,
I would imagine a firm, right?
in the way that we're making payment is we're making a transfer from
No, I'm not saying that. You misheard me. You are paid through a firm that you have, or individually?
individually.
Okay,
yes.
individually. Okay. You're an accountant, and
CPA.
you're taking the money individually?
It's
It's costing you more instead of going through a corporation.
No, I'm doing.
It's up to you, you know, but
Yeah.
how much are you paid for the Omni CRA yearly?
It's I have
In the new budget?
in the new budget 90,000.
How much?
90,000.
90,000.
Yeah.
Okay, 90,000. Okay. Yeah.
Is this going to be like a thing now for all employees?
I would want to keep that job too. You know. Anyway, thank you. I think we've gotten all that we need from you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Miguel.
Okay. As I stated, the pass-throughs that we were given before in the Midtown budget, we are making a change that the $134,363 that was for the salary, FICA, and French benefits, plus available for other administrative expenditures, whatever they meant by that.
Mr. Vice Chair, I think you read the wrong column.
Well, no, I'm reading, this has 134,363.
Yes, Vice Chairman, that is for the fiscal year 2024 adopted budget. If you look at the column over
Okay,
fiscal year
it would be
2025, the
okay,
139. Yeah.
All right, so the one for 24-25 is how much?
It's 139,181.
Okay, 139,000.
81.
81. Okay, you have that, Mr. Clerk?
Yes,
So
sir.
the 139,181 will be put in the budget as a reserve. And depending what it's needed for, it will be used for that. If not, a part of it, 60% will go back to the city, and a 40% will go back to the county. That is the budget proposal. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion, there a second. Here, no further discussion. All in favor?
Public
Before you
comment.
vote, we need to have public comment. You have to open up public comment.
I'm sorry. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment before we vote on this? Now, don't everybody rush for the job for executive director, please.
Oh, it's not open for applications for $135,000. I'll take it. And I work 24 hours, 7 days a week.
You're not going to do a Jenny on me, right?
Brenda Berancor, 1436 South 6th Street. I believe that is concerning. And I was a county employee for many, many decades ago. And to have two jobs is very disrupted because you have too many responsibilities, and this is supposed to be very important jobs. We depend on you guys. Depend on your staff to answer the phone, actually make appointment when we want to make an appointment, and not be ignored. If your chief of staff have two jobs, I think is something wrong. Because for a person who's a chief of staff or the commissioner, is supposed to be the person to answer the phone when the commissioner is busy. And we need to just eliminate all the CRAs. I'm sorry to say that, but there are too many problems, and they find a way how to manipulate the money from the people. And a restaurant is going to get $1.5 million from me, then I'm going to look for a property, and I'm going to go to a CRA and get you guys to give me money. Because we have people in different areas of the city of Miami doesn't get a penny, but it's still paying taxes. Taxes of the business, taxes of the property appraisals for their houses, for everything. And don't get me wrong, it's just sometimes the perception from us, from what you guys do, and it's just not just one, it goes to all of you. Because even though you guys try to help in one sense, but if you make a mistake, as sad as it is, then all the good that you did went down. And we expect a lot from you guys, and sometimes maybe more than what we think. But we expect a lot from you, and really disappointed.
Okay. We're done with it. We don't need you for anything more. Go ahead, ma'am.
Kristen Browdy, 888 Biscayne Boulevard. We're here on the other budget item, but we care about all the money that this town spends. And Commissioner Gabella, I think you're onto something. If we're doing these pass-throughs, what for? Why add the administrative expense? Why do we need this? I appreciate your concern, and I appreciate your answer. We obviously haven't seen the documents that all of you have, and I hope you will be transparent with us, just as those in the DDA have to be transparent with us. But if we don't need these organizations, if all they're doing is passing through money, we can save the taxpayers' money, which is our money. All of us are paying these taxes. And if we don't have to, nobody wants to. You know, Florida's inflation rate is 40% higher than the rest of the nation's. Maybe we can do something about that by lowering some taxes right here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Through the chair, I've been listening to something all day today, and something hit home here, what Commissioner Gabella said. You've been fighting for your community on the Omni CRA and all these budgets and talking about transparency. And then we have to echo the same thing because we just went through the DDA's scenario. And I think it's important that you start looking at every Omni CRA and every component that is paid as a special interest here. Because it's not fair. I think, you know, by the chair turning around and saying that he's going to move the money here or there, that could have been your money for Alapato technically. Or the expansion of the Omni CRA with the borders and all these other components, because it is tax dollars that are being hurt here. And the end result, if you're able to move that money, guess what? We get out of that blight that we all been talking about. So we echo that. It may be time to start looking at all of these organizations as a whole. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. It's really not fair for the rest of the city of Miami being neglected because they don't have a CRA in their community to help out their community to be what the community needs. I'm part of that community, and I get none of that funding. I go out every week, and I get none of that help. I'm for eliminating all the CRAs and distributing that money to all the commissioners, and they should be over that to distribute that money to their neighborhoods as they see it fit. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Any Anybody else that would like to address this Midtown CRA, sir?
My name is Ed Cook. I live 1717 North Bayshore Drive. We seem to be talking, and the papers have been talking lately about the CRA, especially they mentioned the Omni CRA in the millions and expanding and things like that. While you're at it with your millions of dollars, would you come along North Bayshore Drive, immediately behind the Omni? The very street needs to be repaired, potholes and everything. So we need somebody who is backing up these
Mr.
efforts.
Manager, do we have anybody from the administration here? Anybody from the city administration here? Mr. Manager, can you get from the clerk the gentleman's concerns in the address? And if you could send somebody from Public Works tomorrow and have them look at it. If there are potholes, we would be greatly appreciative if they could be repaired. And if the whole street needs to be repaired, then I'm sure that the commissioner of the district will sit with you and see when it could be done.
It's in the Omni CRA district. It also involves the county and Florida Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anybody
Public
else?
Works Director's in the back, so he's
Anybody else? Okay, last but not least, Mr. Valentine?
I'm sorry,
Yeah, close the-
Commissioner. So we're just going to close the public hearing, officially closing the public hearing.
The public hearing will be closed. I understand that I think Monday is your last day
Yes.
for this fiscal year. What I'd like for you to do tomorrow, if not, then do it on Monday. If you could bring a copy of the budget that we passed to the county, because I believe we have 10 days to get it to them.
Yeah, I need to, if you're asking me gladly, I will do it, but it's not only.
Well, we paid you, so that's.
No, and again, my duties are going to end by September. But what I wanted to tell you is,
Maybe.
it's not a matter of providing a copy to the county. There is some paperwork that it needs to be prepared. You know, there is some work that it needs to be done, and statutorily, there should be an executive director. Somebody needs to be doing some work that I was doing the accounting work, because in the only CRA that I am the financial officer is Overtown. I was doing the accounting work, and there are some things that they need to be taken care of. There is an audit that it needs to be complete. The audit needs to be submitted to the state. There is a transfer that is due to the city that somebody needs to approve it. That's why the executive director position is important.
Well, let me make that real clear.
Yeah.
The minute that we approve this new fiscal year's budget, I will place a motion to approve the transfer. I was under the impression that we included this transfer in this budget. That's what you had here.
But someone needs to provide the journal entry to the finance department. Somebody needs to upload. There are some logistical work that it needs to be done that somebody else needs to take over.
I understand that, but
It's not going to
it seems to
be.
me you're making it like there's so much work, and it's not. I'm sorry. Okay?
Well-
it's not.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
can you handle this tomorrow or not? Between tomorrow and Monday.
If you let's put it in this way. Since I want to do things correctly, I will do it. You don't need to pay me a dime. But honest to goodness, there are some things to be done. There is the auditors. They are calling me. This is something that I do outside my regular job. But I want you to factor that in. Whoever is taking over, they need to understand this. If you want me, I will cooperate for a smooth transition. If you don't want me to do this, I understand that, but I wanted to raise awareness.
We will be having another Midtown CRA meeting soon
Okay.
enough to deal with. I don't think the sky is going to fall.
No, it's okay. I understand. And
during
if you
that
need
time.
me, I will meet you, and I will deliver everything to the person that you think.
Okay, but for the record, since we have 10 days to provide that to the county,
Yes,
will
correct.
you do it or not? I just need to know.
If you're asking me, I will do it, but
Exactly what I'm asking you.
there should be some paperwork that I need to do. It's not like that. It's not as
Mr.
easy
City
as possible.
Attorney,
Could I sort of translate? I guess the issue is that the fact that you're zeroing out all the administrative function in the budget, and I'm not going to suggest an amount or anything like that. I think I understand what you're doing, but what they're saying is they need somebody there other than yourself, because right now upon the conclusion of his contract, there'll be nobody other than the vice chair. So you should perhaps consider having a de minimis amount in the budget so that you can have somebody sending the emails, providing the documentation, meeting with the Auditor General, because there are going to be things that come up that you're probably not going to
is
want.
this something that's not going to be able to hold until we meet again October 18th?
Well, see, here's the problem, and that's an excellent question. That was my question. Can we just change the budget? And
Well,
let me
look,
have
what I've done with the budget, the amount of the 139,000 plus, it's been put in reserve, and I did that purposely. So when we meet again, we could use a portion of that money for whatever we need. But the one thing that you will never get my vote is to get 86,000 plus to anybody, and particularly somebody making 150,000 in another position in the city, in an agency that's only a pass-through. Now, I know that he wants to make this sound much more complicated than it is. I don't think it's that much more complicated. Now, you're the city attorney, that you guide all of us.
Yeah.
You meet with me tomorrow and get whoever we need to in the city, because we should have at least one person somewhere that's qualified to sign those 6 checks and meet with an auditor. I mean, how many auditors do we need?
Well, I believe there's one external auditor that has done it for years, and that's a requirement.
Yeah,
But
well,
let me
it's only 6 checks, my God.
Understood, but could I just have Mr. Alban explain the problem that would occur if you just put the money in the reserve?
So then, what you are saying is that it's going to be 139,181 placed in reserve to be budgeted and appropriated at a future date for whatever administrative expenses occur at the time of the administrative expenses being incurred.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying that there's a blank check so we get a bill for whatever amount for minute work that's been done. Before Midtown pays anybody, we want to see what we're going to be charged. So what I'm saying is that it was my intention to wait and meet with legal before the next meeting so we could resolve all these minor loose issues. But I know that this is part of government to try to make things much bigger than they ever are.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Can I just say something real quick?
Go ahead.
In light of what everything, and, I'll stop it there, but here's the thing. We go backwards and forwards, but at the end of the day, the CRAs continue. You guys continue to do business. We continue to, and investigations left and right, but the game continues. And meanwhile, I asked a simple question, and October 7th, I believe we have a sunshine meeting, and then we have the October 12th meeting. I'd like from city manager, Wysong, the city attorney, I'd like an up or down vote to get something done for my area, period, end of story. I don't want this business anymore of here and let's wait there and let's defer this and that. I'm asking you guys, please, okay, because I see what's going on here, and, we have problems, but your business continues, and you guys continue to build, and you guys and we talk and blah, blah, but it continues.
They'll
Meanwhile,
they'll keep you here for the next
no,
4 years that way.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I want a vote, a straight vote on what I'm asking. I'm the commissioner of the area. I proposed a map. I want to vote up or down on that map. Okay? And I want it on October the 12th when we have the meeting. I don't want this business. Here's what we're going to do for you. And I don't want other commissioners telling me what I need to do in my area, because I don't tell you guys what to do in your area. I appreciate your help, and I know you're trying to help me, but I know what's best in my area, just like I cannot know better than UD2. I cannot know better than UD3, sir. Same thing for Commissioner Reyes. I cannot know his area better than him or your area, Chairwoman. So what I ask, please, on October the 12th, we have an up or down vote, and whatever the plan is going to be, that's going to be the plan. I am not going to continue this fight in limbo after hearing all this stuff that you guys got going on in Omni CRA and over there and over here. I want to get my things done. My people deserve it, and they're waiting for it. And I think I've made my case. So please, City Manager, Wysong, I'd like an up or down vote on whatever it is we're going to do, and I'd like my proposal submitted, and I want an up or down vote if there's no other alternative. Period. End of story. Thank you.
Commissioner, thank you for those comments. I want to be very respectful to what you stated, and I think that's a position that I could understand why you're taking, but I don't think it matters. On how everything's moved, I think what's important is that you have sufficient dollars to do what you need to do in Alapata, and to make that the first Hispanic area where sufficient dollars are going to go through in the city, the Hispanic area in the city of Miami, that is in most needs. So with that in mind, Mr. Manager, and the Commissioner can work out the areas that he wants to go into, and he showed a map. If he wants to keep that map extended or whatever, it's up to him. I want to have a spot saved for the next commission meeting that I'm going to make a presentation where monies will be coming to, in what I think is going to solve a lot of the concerns that we have in Alapata and more in Overtime next door. So save a spot for me, because I'm going to be bringing a whole presentation. It will be backed up with solid numbers so that hopefully we could do what Commissioner Gavela has stated.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I know we're trying to solve for a problem here in terms of whatever administrative responsibilities are required for the next, let's say, 30 days or so. I'm happy to volunteer someone from our staff to take care of that in an interim basis, so that there aren't really any costs incurred. And then as you further meet and decide you're going to assign somebody or hire somebody, we can certainly do that. But we certainly can assign somebody to do that.
I don't want to throw money away. So what I would like is to be able to meet with the law department, with you. The first obligation that we have is that we have to get this budget to the county in whatever way they want it. I'm sure you got people that know what to do. That's not a big deal in doing. And then I will ask for advice on how to proceed in placing someone as the executive director that will sign those 5 or 6 checks, and we don't have to pay $86,000 plus a year in salaries and benefits. You know, maybe let me leave that be. We have a motion to approve the budget with the amendment that was made on the reserve of the $139,000 plus. There was a motion, there was a second. Hearing no further discussion, Ollie, you want to speak now? No, you don't get to speak now. You're too late. You're too late.
Finally.
You're too late.
That's what I'm saying.
Finally. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. This meeting
Chair.
of the...
My apologies, Chair. There are minutes to approve for the September 9th, 2023 Midtown CRA meeting.
Motion.
Of what year?
Second.
September 9,
September 9th, 2023.
2023. And for $86,000 plus, they could have brought that to me to had a meeting to do before. We have to wait over a year later. Okay. There's a motion. There's a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It passes unanimously. Anything else we have?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being here today, and this meeting is now adjourned. Those who would like to apply for the executive director position, please send it to the city manager, since the Midtown CRA does not have an address or a phone number.
At this time, we will resume the City of Miami.
Chair, we just need just a moment.
Flip the
Flipping
tape. Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Can we take 5?
Good to go, Chair.
We're gonna... At this time, we're going to begin the City of Miami Commission's second budget hearing for September 26, 2024. And I'd like to begin this meeting with prayer.
Make sure we don't lose there.
We always need it. We always need it. If my pastor left, I will do it for sure.
Chair, I have to step out for a couple of minutes to do something nobody else could do for me. Thank you.
Well, wait for the prayer. Can you wait for the prayer? At this time, Pastor Hall from the Mount Vernon Missionary Baptist Church will lead us in prayer. Thank you, Pastor.
Would you bow your heads, please? Eternally gracious God, our Father, we come before your presence tonight with thanksgiving. We come, Father, acknowledging that you're God and you're God all by yourself. As we prepare to go into this meeting, we ask, oh God, that you would give us wisdom. We want to acknowledge, Father, that we need your wisdom in our discussions. We need your wisdom in our decision-making process. We ask, oh God, that you would help us tonight, that we would come to the best option for all those that are involved. We found in your word where you said that we trust in the Lord with all our heart, and if we would lean not unto our own understanding, but that if we would acknowledge you in all our ways, you said you would direct our paths. So tonight, as we go into this meeting, we ask, oh God, that you would direct our paths. But most importantly, you said in James 1:5, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask God for it, who giveth it without regret. Now, Father, we claim that promise tonight that you're going to give us the wisdom we need for this budget meeting. It's in Jesus' marvelous, magnificent, and mighty name we pray. And every heart said, amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Commissioner Reyes, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm going to just... At this time, I'm going to have the city attorney read into the record the statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This evening, the City of Miami is holding its second budget meeting and the related second budget public hearing for the purposes of fixing the final millage rate, adopting a final budget, and approving various agency budgets. This hearing was set pursuant to Resolution Number R24-0284, adopted on July 25, 2024, and in compliance with Chapter 200 and Section 166.241 Florida statutes, and all other applicable codes, rules, and regulations. Additionally, on Sunday, September 22, 2024, the City of Miami advertised in a newspaper of general circulation within Miami-Dade County and in compliance with Section 200.065, parentheses 2, parentheses D, its intent to adopt a final millage rate and final budget at today's second budget meeting. Detailed information about the processes, order of business, rules of procedure, and scheduling or rescheduling of City Commission meetings can be found in Chapter 2, Article 2 of the City Code, a copy of which is available online at www.municode.com. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code entitled Lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of this City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk or online. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting approval, relief, or other action from the City Commission must disclose before the public hearing any consideration provided or committed directly or on its behalf to anyone for an agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested approval, relief, or other action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Any documents offered to the City Commission that have not been provided at least 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. In accordance with Section 2-33F and G of the City Code, the agenda and the materials for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at miamigov.com. The meeting of the Miami City Commission is a limited public forum. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chairperson. Public comment will begin at approximately 7:45 and remain open until public comment is closed by the chairperson. Any person making offensive remarks or who becomes unruly in the Commission chambers will be barred from further attending City Commission meetings and may be subject to arrest. No clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support or opposition to a speaker or his or her remarks shall be permitted. No signs or placards shall be allowed in the Commission chambers. Persons exiting the Commission chamber shall do so quietly. Members of the public wishing to address the body may also do so by submitting written comments via the city's online comment form. Please visit miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment during the online public comment form, using the online public comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to the elected officials and city administration throughout the day so that the elected officials may consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials and city administration up until the chairperson closes public comment. Public comments may also be provided here live at City Hall, located at 3500 Pan American Drive, subject to any and all city rules as may be amended from time to time. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the members of the public must first state their name, their address, and what item or items they are speaking on. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the City Clerk. The City has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public's support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission meeting in compliance with Section 286.0114, parentheses 4, parentheses C, Florida statutes. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on this agenda. Anyone wishing a verbatim record of an item considered at this meeting may request it at the Office of Communications or view it online at miamigov.com/MiamiITV. Notwithstanding the foregoing, pursuant to Florida Statute Section 200.065, parentheses 3, and 286.0105, and Florida Administrative Code Rule 12D-17.005, parentheses 2, parentheses C 22, no verbatim record is required for the appeal of any decision made during public hearings required by Chapter 200. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's X, formerly Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, Comcast Channel 77, and AT&T Channel 99. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Mr. City Manager, do you have any items that are going to be withdrawn from this agenda?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Do any of my colleagues want to pull any of the items for discussion? Are there any pocket items to be considered? At this time, I'm going to have the Budget Director read a statement for the record.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Marie Goen. I'm the Budget Director for the city. We're going through to do the final adoption for the city's budget for the fiscal year 24-25. The tentative general operating millage rate is 7.1364 mils for the city of Miami for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024 and ending in September 30th, 2025. That operating budget rate is 10.73% higher than the state-defined rollback rate of 6.4447 mils. The current fiscal year budget that we are in, the millage rate is 7.4599. FY 24-25, which is the tentative budget that the Commission approved on September 7th, which are proposing for next fiscal year for 24-25, will be 7.3900. And it's just an example of if your assessed property value, which is the average right now, homesteaded, at that 7.3900, you'll pay $3,350. If your home value, assessed value, is $500,000 after exemption, it will be $3,695. $1 million, you'll be paying $7,390 to the city. What does that mean? Every dollar that a citizen or a taxpayer in the city pays, every dollar that they pay, 25 cents, hold on, I need my glasses, 29 cents goes to Miami-Dade, 33 cents goes to the public schools, 37 cents goes to the city of Miami, and 1 cent goes to other taxing authorities within your tax bill. Out of the 37 cents, 3 cents goes to the debt service, and 34 cents goes to the operating millage for the city. This proposed budget that we have, the tentative budget, has been revised. There was a memo that was sent out to the commissioners, and that's been distributed. The new operating budget will be $1,793,053. And this is how it's divided up. It's between the general fund. The general fund is what's being reduced by $402,000, and then your special revenue funds will be increased by $4 million, which makes the total of the $1.8 billion. Before I end, the memo that was sent, there was a Scribner error under the positions. The position reduction says it was 15, it needs to be 17 reduction. And then also, the memo that was sent, plus this presentation, everything will be sent to the clerk's office, including the notices that was done to the paper on the budget. And if you have any questions for me.
Do any of my colleagues have any questions for our Budget Director?
But it's even more the administration and the 29% that the county gets. We need to verify how much of that is actually spent by them in the city of Miami. I believe that for too many years, cities, not just the city of Miami, other cities as well, have been spending or giving the county a lot of money through their property taxes that the county is using in keeping the taxes in unincorporated Dade lower. And we're subsidizing that. For instance, our police department. We basically have hardly any need for Miami-Dade's police department. Our fire department the same. So, we need to, excuse me, get some expertise out there and look to see how we could change that equation. Because the most growth that's going to be coming to Miami-Dade in the next years is going to be through up and down the city of Miami and all the condominiums that are going up. And we need those funds more than ever. For instance, we talk about on many areas of our city, basically all through the areas that are closer to the water, that when it rains, they're flooding. Well, gee, those happen to be the areas where in the last 10 years, in particular, we built huge condominiums, one after another. Think about this. Let me give you an example without having my area flooded here. Let's say that this is the size of your drainage in all that area. And when you first put them in years back, only a quarter of it was full. When it rained, it braced, but it didn't overflow. But now that you have all these condominiums there, you have millions of more gallons of water that are being flushed with all kinds of other stuff that are going through there. So now it's pretty much high at a normal level. So obviously when it rains, it can't expand anymore because it's only so big that you made it, it's going to overflow. And the only way that we're going to be able to solve that is by spending hundreds of millions of dollars of digging in and putting new drainage that's going to have to be huge to absorb all that. And we can't afford to be giving our money away to Miami-Dade County to subsidize the unincorporated areas.
I didn't realize that Commissioner Croyo was going to ask such an in-depth question. I'd like to get to the DDA Executive Director's statement so we can begin public comment, and then we could discuss, if that's okay with you guys, if that's okay.
Madam Chair, if I can just 1 second, he has asked this question, as have others, and we are diligently working on getting him the responses. I know it's not subject to the budget. He just wants a clearer picture of what the county is expending, and is there a proper
I
ratio
appreciate
between
that.
that? So
If I had realized that, I would have had that after public comment, so we can all speak on it, but we have the public here waiting to speak, so I'd like to give them the opportunity. Go ahead.
Good evening, Chairwoman King, honorable members of the City Commission, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney, and Mr. City Clerk. My name is Christina Crespi, and I am the CEO and Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority. After listening to the community's concerns raised over the last several weeks, the Miami DDA is amending its proposed final millage rate to fund the operations of the Miami DDA for fiscal year 24-25 and is reducing it to 0.4312 mils. The Miami DDA's rolled back rate is 0.4262. The amended proposed final millage rate is 1.17% greater than the rollback rate. As a result of this reduction in the millage, for the benefit of the DDA's property owners, the budget is also being amended and reduced by $1.2 million. No critical services will be impacted. The reductions in the Miami DDA budget include, but are not limited to, reductions in the line items related to intergovernmental affairs, holiday banners and decor, deferring investments such as the Hardscape and Streetscape Plan, Avenue 3, the Downtown Miami Bike Network projects to future fiscal years, and reductions in other Miami DDA programs and projects. We were also able to zero out certain line items since we were able to finalize pending contracts in the last few weeks in this fiscal year. These reductions will not negatively impact the Miami DDA's enhanced services provided to the community by our organization and hardworking staff. We will, however, have to make concessions on certain items the community asked for in the meetings over the last 2 weeks, since they are no longer feasible under this amended budget. On a procedural note, I'm submitting to the city clerk to include amended items BH4 and BH5, 2 copies of the ads published in the newspaper for general circulation, and the affidavits from Miami Herald that demonstrates the Miami DDA's compliance with the requirements of Section 200.0652D of the Florida statutes. I want to thank all the commissioners that participated in the community meetings over the last several weeks. It was very informative. As you know, we have our public meetings, and the community is always welcome to attend our meetings, but it was very informative, and I thank you all for attending them. Are there any questions?
Yes. What is the total amount that you'll be reducing the budget by?
So the budget last year was total 21 million, and now it's 20 million.
But
Yeah, $1.2 million 1 year over year. Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
And Chair, just for the record, there is a backup document for BH2 that will be substituted. It's just clerical.
Thank you. And at this time, I would like to open the floor for public comment. Anyone who wishes to speak on behalf of any item that is before us for our budget, please step to the podium.
Well, good evening, Commissioners, Chair, and all of our staff. My name is Chaplain Stanley Young. I'm at 500 Northwest 2nd Avenue. I'm here to sound an alarm of a crisis that is going on in our county and in our city where your jail sits. There are 4,790 people in custody since 9/9/2024. Out of that, 4,236 are there for felony murder. They're there for killing police officers, killing people in our community. They are there for doing heinous things in our community. And I'm here to say that out of this population, there are some that want to change their life, but they have no help. They have no support from the community that specialize in this type of crime and this type of thing that is going on in our community. I engage with this population on a weekly basis. They're crying, helping, needing the help from you. I have went to the county commission. I had a little bit of people who wants to get involved. I have spoken with the director of the correction, Miami-Dade Correction. She's very favorable. There's no handoff from the jail to...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Albert Gomez, District 2, 3566 Vista Court. I've come several times, and I've also submitted online a request, as well as my colleagues, a request for an increased budget for Marine Patrol. I hope that that was accomplished. I believe it was, and I want to thank you for that. Number two, I requested retraining of all code compliance. I have seen code compliance flout their own permit guidelines, and it needs to stop, and the only way to stop it is to retrain them. We don't need to call anybody out. We just need to retrain our staff. A lot of them are new. Two, I've requested the Pocket Park. It got overflowed today with the storm surge. The D2 Park on Crystal Bluff. To see, it already has been permitted. It already or at least been stamped. It's been submitted to OCI. I got an ordinance from this dais supporting it, but it still hasn't shown up in any kind of budget line item or work to do. So I'd wish that can be done. And then I'd like to talk about something that, through the chair, Vice Chairman Carollo brought up. And funny that he used a water bottle to showcase the storm surge issue, the stormwater issue. We have trash in our storm drains. That is why they get clogged up. We can recycle the life of our storm drains and our stormwater system if we flush them out and regularly clean the streets. We can't only do that with street sweepers. We might want to start moving to vac sweeping, which is a vac type system. Why? Because when you street sweep, you shoot up disease into the air and people get sick, like I am right now. And the other thing is that it enables is to implement permeable pavement. So once our team knows how to do that, we can implement it.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Pinellas.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, not as a lawyer, but as a resident. I am a resident. I live at 151 Southeast 1st Street in the city of Miami. I live in the DDA area. I'm here to speak in support of item BH2. I live in downtown and I work at Brickell City Center. It's an area that I go across the Brickell Bridge every morning. And I can tell you that right now downtown Miami faces a number of quality of life issues. As you all know, sanitation, vacant storefronts, homelessness, and safety are all amongst those issues that residents in downtown face. It is of paramount importance that the DDA is properly funded to address these issues so that they can continue their important work in improving the quality of lives for downtown residents. I understand that conversations regarding taxation can be difficult, but I urge you to consider the difficult problems that downtown and Brickell are facing and the work that needs to be done to improve on those issues. Therefore, I urge you to join me in supporting the DDA and ensuring that they are properly funded to face the quality of life issues that downtown residents deal with on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Louis McMillan. I'm here on behalf of the concerned citizens of Edgewater, 235 Northeast 25th Street. And we also are in support of the DDA. I've had the privilege of working in Edgewater for 18 years and seeing it grow and add the thousands of units that it has. And you know, we feel that we could definitely use the support with police presence, help clean the streets, and homeless assistance. So we're in favor of the DDA getting the resources that they need. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
I'm George Sanchez, 133 Northeast 2nd Avenue, at the Loft 2 condominium, downtown Miami. Thank you, Commissioner Reyes and Commissioner Pardo, for your recent work and ongoing work with the DDA and your efforts to rein in the costs in that organization. The organization started over many years ago with good intentions of helping the downtown, but I think the organization has gone off its rails. At this point, I think similar to earlier conversations of the CRA, I would encourage the Commission to consider a complete defunding of the DA and consider a restructuring of how we're handling the downtown needs. The DDA is not adequately addressing the issue of vagrancy in the downtown area, vandalism, all sorts of crime that's going on, the drainage. I see them misspending lots of money that should be spent perhaps in other areas. I have property out in the Flegami area. I have property over in the Alapata area. I have flooding in Flegami, unpaved streets in the Alapata. The money would be much better spent than monies that are being misappropriated by this organization. The organization is unresponsive to downtown businesses and downtown residents. It's an organization that has millions of dollars and is unaccountable to its residents. It's currently monies that are being run pretty much by county commission, but funded through the city of Miami. We should not have a county commissioner running, being on the board of the DDA. Should be in control of this body here in this room, where the interests of the city of Miami is represented by the monies that are being spent. I encourage you to not fund the DDA any further and restructure how you're addressing their issues. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Laverne Holliday. Madam Chair, my name is Laverne Holliday, and I'm here on behalf of Curly's House. One of the things I would like to ask is that we get a recommendation from you, Commissioner King, for requesting CDBG funding, as well as some discretionary funds for our upcoming events. For those of you that don't know us, we have been in the bulk food distribution business for over 2 decades. Our passion is our seniors. Many of them only receive $5 to $15 in food stamps. So we provide them with bulk food products, produce, personal hygiene products, baby diapers, and we serve over 5,000 people a month. I encourage you also to give Miami Day, which is a project that we chair with the Miami, not chair, but partner with the Miami, Give Miami Day Foundation. So I'd like to encourage you to also support us in that fashion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Rihanna Wadlow. I'm a downtown resident at 1600 Northeast 1st Street. I'm asking you guys please to support the budget, the DDA and BH2. I chose to live here. I work remote. I've lived in many cities across the U.S. I chose to make Miami my home because I see the potential. But I'm also seeing a lot of things that definitely need to be improved. It should not flood every time it rains on Biscayne Boulevard. There's events. It sometimes takes, if you're taking exit 2D to come home downtown, you can sit on the ramp for 2 hours. We're building all these wonderful towers. Other cities across the globe are taking note. They're taking note. People are from Dubai coming to look at our city. So if we truly want to make this the best city in the country, we're going to have to increase the budget so we can take care of the flooding problems, the landscaping, and the homeless that we're seeing downtown. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Kristen Browdy, 888 Biscayne Boulevard. I am my building's representative to the Downtown Neighborhood Association. I want to thank Commissioners Pardo, Reyes, and Carollo for taking the time this weekend to meet with residents to talk about the DDA budget. And we are delighted with what the DDA does on many, many levels. But what the DDA has done here, even though they have acceded to our request to review their budget and reduce it, they did it in a way that we don't know what's in it. Now, I sit on nonprofit boards. I have done so for 40 years. I sit on 3 right now. We look at these as people who are responsible for managing money on a line item basis, just as we heard earlier today. We don't know what those line items are that they've reduced. We don't know what they are putting their money towards. We saw things that we thought were problematic, and we talked to the commissioners about them. I would urge this commission to make sure that this isn't done on second reading at the last minute where we can't see what's going on. We love what the DDA does. We love what it's doing for downtown. but we need to be prudent about the money. And everybody knows you can drop that millage rate, but we're still paying more in taxes because values are going up. And it's great that we're dropping the millage rate. But we've got to be mindful of where this money's coming from. And it's coming from the pockets of all of us. Thank you for your consideration and for keeping them honest.
Thank you for your advocacy. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairwoman. My name is James Torres, a proud member of the Downtown Miami community and president of the Downtown Neighbors Alliance. I come before you today with a message of gratitude and continued determination. For far too long, our neighborhoods have been forced to shoulder the unjust tax burdens and broken promises of those in power. But today, I'm pleased to say our voices have been heard. It wasn't easy, as we know. The Downtown Development Authority proposed to reduce their millage and their budget by $1.2 million. We're thankful for that, and this shows that a clear testament of the power of civic engagement. We come together as a community and refuse to be silent. We can drive real change. The DDA's leadership and the city commissioners who responded to our pleas, we thank you. We wholeheartedly thank you for listening to the community. This is an important victory for downtown residents. I hope this experience has demonstrated the value of advocacy, not just by one voice, but as a community, and several communities in Brickell and Edgewater as well. As we move forward, I encourage you that the DDA, the Omni CRA, and all community stakeholders to foster a deep sense of development and understanding of what these components do. And may be time to reorganize and or look at the priorities of what they fund. On behalf of the community, I also would like to enter into the record over 690 petitions showing that they want this new budget to move forward. Thank you for your time and your gratitude to the DDA and its chairman for stepping up to the plate, and the commissioners that showed up and joined us and heard the community speak sound. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Rep.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Commissioner, Madam Chair. I'm Roy Hardeman, 1292 Northwest 79th Street, apartment 108. My heart keep getting heavy when I come to this commission, when I go to the county commission. I'm almost like the old man used to come here, every commissioner. He was the post office man. He cried and cried and cried, and nothing he cried about was ever accomplished. I feel the same way. I saw him here. I didn't wear glasses then. I could see everybody's name and everything. And I'm real angry because I hear about the CRAs and everybody taking advantage. My community fought for the Sawyer Walk, and we've been fighting for housing. We got over 20 acres in Model City, Liberty City, that can't get developed because the city can't get it right. We got land. We took houses from our community and not been replaced yet. Sawyer Walk, we fought over there for about 30 years. A house get burnt down, apartment complex, you take 50 families, drop them right there, bam! Well, you got a Publix, you got Target, you got Ross, you got all this good stuff that black folks are waiting on. Now they was taken over by others. And I'm angry because we can't get it together. I ain't gonna blame my commissioner, I blame the staff. Because the last thing she hear is from that staff and they're giving her misinformation. I want to straighten that out. I want to not be, when October come, we still ain't got no job base in our neighborhood. We still don't have proper housing, and we tore it down. The Liberty City Trust should be demolished because they ain't doing any development in our neighborhood. We go to the homeowner association, we talk about stuff, but it has nothing to do why Tia put this Liberty City Trust together. With that, I've closed.
Thank you. Good evening. He yields to you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Laverne Spicer. I'm founder of Curly's House, Hope Relief Food Bank, 6025 Northwest 6th Court. Curly's House has been in business over 2 decades. We provide food to low to moderate income families, but we are also a citywide agency. When I first started the organization over 20 years ago, our community was 100% African American. Right now, our community is over 70% Hispanics, okay? So we do our distribution twice a week in the middle of the street. We feed people with dignity. So what I mean by that is that we allow them to choose whatever the food is that they would like to eat instead of giving them a hard, cold chicken, like that's the only kind of meat that low-income families choose to eat just because they can't afford to go into the grocery store. You know, so many of our seniors suffer in silence with empty refrigerators because they cannot afford to pay rent, light bill, medication, and a lot of them have chosen to adopt their grandkids and are starting all over in life. So we give them, like Laverne Holiday said, clothing. We provide Pampers for the kids, also baby milk. We also go to the senior buildings to take them food. And we spend time with these people. We talk to them because we want to keep them engaged in the mainstream of life. Let them know that somebody is there to care and love them. So we also take them personal care items, clothing. We bring in doctors to educate them and talk to them about their medication. Let them know what mix and what does not mix with their medication. So we are very involved in our community.
Thank
you. Chairman King, we are asking you to provide funding for our organization because we really need it. And like I said, we are a citywide agency.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
I'm Ed Cook. I live in Edgewater, and I come on the general idea of raising taxes for the homeowners. And I was hoping to give maybe a solution to the board and the city with a little bit of context about this raise in taxes. Am I right, rightly or wrongly, before the pandemic, the Florida tax was for commercial buildings here in Miami was 5.6 up there. And then during the pandemic, there was a crying two tears out of one eye, and they dropped it down to 3%. The last legislature up there in Tallahassee, at the behest of the local, everybody's local, Board of Realtors and the lobbyists for them, got it dropped down to 2.6. In the meantime, we have all these other good people trying to get the richest tech agencies here at commercial property at 2.6. And what has happened? That means the local homeowner, including the renters, has now had all of that needed money dropped on them. Their taxes, by a truthful sleight of hand, are going, the money that they pay is going up a bit, primarily because of this lobbying by the Board of Realtors. I offer to the commission here, would you see with your city manager and your attorney whether or not, since the new commercial especially, people have benefited our town by their presence, would they also benefit by our taxes? Raise their taxes proportionally and take our and let us keep our taxes the way they were. Just a thought.
Thank you.
If it can be done.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Good evening.
Commissioners. My name is Valerie Francisco. I'm a director of Art and Folly Gallery. I'm a benefactor of the DDA's grants back in 2020. I used to have a gallery in Little River. Pandemic hit, so it needed some structure to get me footing. They offered me a grant, but what they offered me more so was synergy, connections. They attended every single event I did. They provided me with the structure to basically move forward, and we were able to do projects from that one grant for the next 2.5 years, which was amazing. Now I'm in Alapata, Assistant Commissioner, which is a great neighborhood coming up. But I just want to speak for the DDA, because it's not just they assigning money to people to create programming. They're present. They're constantly there. They're constantly introducing all about synergy with them. The team, Christina Crespi, and the entire DDA, so I hope you guys support them, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm behaving most
Good
of the time.
evening.
Most of the time I behave. Brenda Betancourt, 1436 Southwest 6th Street. I just have actually a couple quick questions for you guys to see if it's the budget has them in it. First of all, the street linings. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of streets, the lights are not working. And I know that I heard that FPL is the one is going to take care of the lights, but then at the end, we as citizens, we still have lights that are completely off for years and years. Trimming, we have the lights, then the tree covered the lights, and you still have dark streets, and the sort of with the stop signs. A lot of areas and residential areas, the trees are beautiful, but they cover the stop signs. So I hope that you guys have that in your budget. And the trash, as we were saying, is not just about the trash, it's about teaching those to not throw the trash in the street. So I don't know if the program of the trash is going to come back. I hope it does, that the trash man goes, Williams can send the trash man to the schools and still teaching those kids not to throw the trash in the street, and and that will make the parents as well to give them a little bit of incentive. And I just want to say, if anyway in the budget are we going to give more money for police, fire, crime is still high. We see a lot of different people moving to our neighborhood. I'm a Little Havana, and I can see the changes. And I got to thank the police because 16 and 14 and 6, they there all the time. But I don't think that that's enough. I think we got to give them more budget for them to actually provide us more security. So, and thank you to the co-enforcement. But yes, I think we all need to be trained in co-enforcement and the new regulations.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Deidre Davis. I'm a resident of Overtown. I've been there for 17 years. I work for Dade County Elections. I'm a clerk at Precinct 509. I'm here representing United Health Partnership, UHP, and I also work for Jesse Trice Community Health System, and I'm an intake specialist there. So I'm here to ask you to consider, because I hear all the other items up, but I didn't hear anybody advocating for Overtown, which is my community. So basically, I'm asking for Overtown Park improvements, for funding, if you can find it in the budget, to fund a community liaison to work with the City of Miami Parks Department to collaborate with the CRA. I'm asking for Williams Park to get a canopy and shade for the fitness area. All the parks need ADA assessments and improvements. And it's also important to mention the positive effects that it has on the community and our seniors when we have fitness and workouts in Williams Park, and we really need that, and funding got cut for that. So if you can find a way to help us with various items, I have a whole list of items, but I know it's time constraint, but I would love to meet with commissioners so that we could do a drive-by in the Overtown area where Villas of St. Agnes, the 80-unit development where I live, which the CRA helped us with the funding about 10 years ago with putting our gate up to make the community safer. So I know that you guys have it in your heart to help when it's appropriate. So I would really appreciate that. We need your help if you can find any way in the budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. How you all doing? First of all, thank you so much, Madam Chair, for your assistance in helping us lay Michael Clarkson to rest. Went very smooth, and we didn't have any problem with some of the locations. So thank you for your swift response and the resolution that you presented at his service. My name is Francois Alexandre. Address is 5801 Northeast 2nd Avenue. I am the CEO of Conscious Contractors, and I'm an advisor of TAPARI, which stands for TIET Preparedness and Relief Institution. And I just would like to, extend the conversation around the Clean Street, Clean Mind program. Conscious contractors have a program called Clean Street, Clean Mind, and our focus is making sure that the streets of District 5, more important, Little Haiti, is beautified. And I've also, in the process of doing that for a couple of years, I've learned about Commissioner Reyes' cleanup program, the beautification program. And I also know that in Overtown and also at the Midtown, there's also cleanup crews, but there aren't any in Little Haiti. So I would love to see that, you know, maybe his program or some of the program that you already have going on be extended our way. And also, thank you for your assistance in the food distribution, but I also would like to see more funding heading that way as we are having a rise of folks moving in our community, not just Latinos, but we also have an influx of Haitian migrants coming in from the Biden program. So there's a lot more in the population that needs to be served. But overall, thank you all for what y'all do. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak? Seeing none, the public comment period is now closed. Thank you all for your advocacy. We're going to take each item up one by one. Are there any items that, well, let's just do it one by one. BH3 is a forfeits item. It's open for discussion. May I have a motion?
It's an
I'm sorry, wait.
Ordinance, yeah.
So the title must be read in the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An ordinance of the Miami City Commission relating to taxation, defining and designating the territorial limits for the city of Miami, levying an ad valorem tax on all real and personal property in the city at a total final rate of 7.3900 mils on the dollar of the taxable value of such property for the purposes of funding the general operating budget and payment of debt service for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024 and ending September 30, 2025, containing a severability clause providing for an effective date.
At this time, would my colleagues like to have a discussion on BH3? I have a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, Chair, can you state again who the mover and seconder were?
Commissioner Reyes is the mover, and the second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Pardo. BH3 requires a roll call vote, so if we can go in order of districts. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3? Yes. District 4? District 5, that is myself, yes. Motion unanimous. BH4, would any of my colleagues like to discuss BH4?
Yeah, I would. Okay, so I just wanted to ask, over there for the non-homesteaders, right? For the non-homesteaders, what percentage are their taxes? I know the deal between the rollback and, I don't want to get into that. I just want to know in dollar amount and percentage, what the non-homesteaders, okay, everybody else except the non-homesteaders, approximately how much are their taxes going, how much are they going to pay this year more than what they paid yet last year? On average.
An average?
Yeah.
What was the school? You're talking about the county, right?
In general.
In county, the general. Can you do whatever that?
What I'm getting at is that, you know,
I'll get you a
sometimes
number.
there's a lot of confusion here between the rollback and, you know, the non-rollback and whatever. But at the end of the day, if I'm a citizen, right, the average guy, layman, and I'm looking at my tax roll, and this year I paid $500 more than what I did last year, you know, I don't care really what's set up here. What I care about is that I paid $500 more. Whatever animal we called, it doesn't matter. What hurts is the 500. Then what happens with the 500? That 500, the landlord is going to try to pass it on if the market permits to the tenant, and therefore then affordable housing continues to be more unaffordable because it's passed on if the tenant can pay it. And so that's my only concern. I know I agreed, like all of you did, to pass the budget, But I just want to put that on the record that
I do understand.
I have that concern.
And I do understand by doing the rollback that we did, you see, they are going to be, it's going to be flat. The taxes are going to be flat according to last year. And that's where we develop the savings by keeping the taxes flat. You're not going to pay more now? You're going to pay, okay?
Is that the case, Larry? Is that the case? What Commissioner Reyes stated? Is that the case?
I was trying to get the number. I did not hear you, so I apologize.
What I'm saying that we have kept the revenues flat, and that's what we did with the budget by eliminating certain things from the budget, $1.2 million, and then there's not an increase in the amount.
So in my duplex, for example, last year I paid $700 more than what I did
I don't know who's,
the year before.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's based.
Me, for
Can I-
example.
Wait, Maggie, before you answer that question, just so I have clarity, I know we're on a DDA item, right? Are we making this reference in terms of the DDA budget, or are we
No,
doing
no,
it in terms of
in
regular
general,
budget?
in
General budget?
Oh, in general, I'm sorry.
Because we were on a DDA item, so I just wanted to make sure I wasn't.
So
I'm sorry, I thought you would refer.
No.
Because
I
it was
talking about
explained, it was explained.
No, in general, what I want to know is, what I'm concerned about is
Yeah.
the person that's, the property owner that are non-homesteaders, not the homesteaders, okay? So I have, a couple of properties, one of them is my homestead, not that one, right? That's 2% out there, capped for the value. I'm talking about the other properties that are investment properties. This year, okay, last year, we had that famous $25 million, that we deducted. I think we were part of it. But at the end of the day, I paid $700 more for my property taxes at my duplex at 1780 Northwest 21st Terrace. Okay, what I want to know this year, a guy like me, what am I going to pay? Am I going to pay more? Am I not going to pay more?
You are going to pay more.
Okay, and what is that average? That's all I want to know, because again, I'm not going to vote against it, but I'm concerned.
Value went up higher.
Yeah, I'm concerned that this will be passed on to the consumer, the tenant, if the market permits, right? And then the tenant will you hit us, but then the tenant bears the brunt of the.
Through the chair, Larry Spring, Chief Financial Officer, Commissioner Bello. So the non-homesteaded tax payers, if you will, are subject to an up to 10% increase based on their assessed value. The Save Our Homes legislation put in by the state some years ago focuses its protection only on homesteaded property owners. So I think based on what we did, overall it was a $5 million reduction. And I think when we did it at the last meeting, I think it went down $10 per homesteaded average property owner. On the commercial, it's going to be a little bit tougher because a couple of things. One, if you take your situation, they're just doing it based on the assessed value. If I look at other commercial dwellers, like multifamily apartment buildings, they do the assessment based on their income methodology. So it's kind of hard to say that went up 10. And we really have not done like a commercial analysis to say, on average, commercial properties went up by.
But is it safe to say that it's not going to stay the same on average across the board?
For non-homestead,
no, it's not safe
for
to say.
non-homestead properties,
Yeah, it's
you
not
cannot,
safe.
because that is not within our wheelhouse.
Right.
The city of Miami cannot determine that. We don't have jurisdiction over that. Is what I believe the answer would be. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, do I have a motion for BH4 as amended? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Chair, just for the record, that is as amended pursuant to a memo from the DDA dated September 25th, 2024.
BH5. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Open for discussion. Would anyone like to discuss BH5? Commissioner Carollo? Kidding. All in favor of BH5 as amended?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously.
And again, just for the record, the resolution will be amended and Composite Exhibit A will be substituted pursuant to a memo from the DDA dated September 25th, 2024.
Thank you. BH6, do I have a motion? Second. I'm the seconder. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. BH7, BH7 is as amended. BH6 was okay. BH7 as amended. I have a motion. Second. Commissioner Pardo is the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
And again, that would be as amended pursuant to Commissioner Corro's amendment, as well as Exhibit A will be substituted. The date in the first whereas clause must be changed to September 26, 2024, and resolution number MCRA-R-24-0001 must be added to the first whereas clause.
Thank you. BH8, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, one thing, as it pertains to the capital budget, I want to swap the remaining parkland acquisition balance to our Kirk Monroe project. It should be incorporated in the change memo.
Okay. BH8, I have a motion.
Second.
Yes, I wanna make a comment.
Okay, it's fine. So I have a motion and a second for BH8.
I'm sorry, Chair, who's the seconder again? I have Commissioner Pardo as the mover.
Second.
Commissioner Reyes seconded.
Yes,
And
but I want once again reiterate that I'm not too happy with this budget because we need more police officers, and I didn't see any inclusion in the final for more officers. And what I'm requesting is that the end of the year budget, you try to find a way of including more officers. And probably we need some more inspectors and things. So that's my request, and that's the way. That's why I'm voting for it.
Duly noted, Commissioner, and I know that when we met with each individual office with regards to particularly police staffing,
yes,
we talked about the future plan,
Okay.
so we'll continue to work on modify that plan and improve it if we need to.
Mr. Manager,
Yes, sir.
through the chair, for the record, approximately how many police officers do we have vacancies for now?
I believe is it 88 or vacant?
Chief?
If his pants fall down,
Good evening.
we'll get somebody to cover.
That was a shirt tucker, an old Army remnants.
The question is, how many vacancies do you currently have?
We currently have 52 vacancies right
Oh,
now.
I said 53.
Without the budget being approved, I saw we added 2 new ones, so that would be 54, bringing the budgeted number to 1390 from 1388.
But we're still not at a net gain, correct?
Correct. We still have, as we discussed, the 65 that are going through the academy, that the bulk will come out at the end of this month, at the end of October, and some in the new year. Those guys will come out of the academy, and with those individuals, we're counting those into the ones that we have. Those are not counting into the vacancies. Those are just in training, but they're not officers that are performing the jobs of a law enforcement professional on the streets yet.
So when those guys come on, we will have a net gain?
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
When those officers that you just stated come on, we will have a net gain or not yet?
So we will have a net gain from where we were before. When we started the year, we had 72 officers less. This year, we've hired 72 officers. So we're gaining. We haven't had in our budgeted amount a net gain. What we're having is a net gain of those 2 officers that were being given.
So we have a net gain. From replacing, we will have a net gain, meaning that we replaced and we added.
Correct. So this year, when we're finished hiring everyone that we have, we'll have 2 more officers that we began with.
What I was referring through the chair is increasing the number of positions. I know that you have some officers in the academy, and and we have some replacement that we have to do. But that's not what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is the number of positions should be increased. So we have a net increase. See?
Correct. So we gained 2, so we did a net increase of 2.
That you got it, but no positions or
2 positions.
2 positions.
2 officers, 2 bodies.
Okay, I would like to have at least 3 or 4 more. You see, because listen, and you live in Flagami now, okay? I'm going to use this example. Flagami, we have about how many police officers we have? 4?
So I can tell you the total number of them.
In that sector? None with the ones that you included. But how many we have now?
So Flagami with the staff and the support, I think we have 75.
75. Correct. For 75, but that is total, not in each shift.
No. That's total officers assigned to work the Flagami area, right? So the number fluctuates. At any given time, I want to say your minimum staff is 7.
When you talk Flagami, is that sector that comes from where to where?
27th Avenue all the way to the city, from just about 836 looking down to Southwest 8th Street.
From 8th Street, right?
From 8th Street all the way to 836, from 27th Avenue
836
to just about the Palmetto.
Okay.
It's a huge area.
Okay. In the average, how many police officers you have in that sector? And I'm talking about Flagami because it's the one that I know, but I know that all the neighborhoods, they have the same problem with it. You have a huge sector, it needs to be properly manned, because if there is an accident or there is any emergency, I mean, you're going to occupy at least 2 police officers, and then if we have 5, then there's 3 police officers patrolling that vast neighborhood.
So, Commissioner, one of the things that we did when I took over, nobody said that we're having a shortage, and we started with 72 less than what we currently have now, whether they're in training or not. But we went to a district-based dispatch system, right? So I know that ideally what we want is to have all the officers assigned to Flagami handle every call that happens.
I'm not talking only Flagami. I'm not.
I
use Flagami. Excuse me.
Any of our 13 neighborhoods.
I don't want my colleagues to think that
I was just using that as that.
I'm talking for everybody, for every single district. You see, for every single district. Another question is, all those positions that you're talking about, they are uniformed police officers, or they are also office workers?
So those 65 officers, as soon as they come out from
they're going to be on the
their
street.
training phase, which is 13 months from the date of hire, they'll go to patrol. All right, and from those numbers, as we increase our patrol numbers, we'll take officers and put them in other areas. So whether it be a beat officer, a problem-solving team officer, a neighborhood resource officer, later in October, we do have some positions that we have to backfill. I know patrol is the backbone of the police department. They answer the calls, they're the face to the residents. However, we need to be mindful that investigations need to be conducted so we can have a good holistic approach to policing.
We need detectives also to solve crimes, because we don't have detectives and all that. That's why my request is, by all means, try to increase the number of positions that we get our city enough police officers that people are safe. Okay? That's my request. I don't.
Through the chair.
Huh?
I was just through the chair. I was just going to add one more thing. By the way, I know that we made strides, because remember also that we included to be competitive with the county, and we were offering lesser benefits, and now we are competitive with the county at 62, I believe.
And the county's at 58, so we're a lot more attractive.
Now we're attractive. But the other thing I was going to say, Manolo, when I got together with you guys, there was a number. There's a number that I have in my head. It was 16.9 mil, and then we can kind of get up there. And I asked Larry to if we can get to that number, but we can't get to it right now. But I'm hoping that maybe next year we can put in that extra to have more net gains. In other words, and what I define a net gain is, obvious, you're level with the replacements, and then we start adding on more than what you had before. To make it clear, that's a net gain for me, right? I think we're all talking the same language. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. No. Mr. City Attorney, would you please address any amendments that we need to have for the record on BH8? Thank you, Chief.
We're ready for a motion?
So BH8 will be amended pursuant to a memo titled Information for the Second Budget Hearing, Fiscal Year 24-25 Tentative Budget, dated 9/25/2024.
And my apologies, Commissioner Pardo made reference to an amendment. Was that an amendment or is it just a request?
Request to the capital budget, just a request to swap the remaining park land acquisition balance to our Kirk Monroe Park project. That was it, to be incorporated into the change memo.
If you will, Madam Chair, we will make that correction. The capital budget was approved at the last meeting, so we'll bring that amendment back to the City Commission.
So then that's not an amendment. Just want to make sure that was clear for the record.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor of
Aye.
BH8? Aye. Motion
As
carries
amended.
unanimously. This will conclude our budget hearing for September 26, 2024. I'd like to thank my student who attends my class at FIU, Miami Politics, for sitting through. She gets extra credit for coming.
Oh,
Thank you,
fantastic.
everyone. Thank you for your advocacy.
Hallelujah.
Good night.